It costs $65,000. The waiting list is 2 years long. 1 in 4 people who reach the summit will die on the way down. And above 8,000 meters, if you collapse, no one is coming to save you. Not because they do not want to, because they physically cannot. At that altitude, every step requires 15 breaths. Lifting a person is impossible. A helicopter cannot fly that high. The only way off the mountain is to walk. And if you cannot walk, you stay. Your body freezes. Your climbing suit keeps its color for decades, and future climbers use you as a landmark. There are over 200 bodies on Mount Everest right now. Some have names. Most have nicknames. One is called Green Boots. Another is called Sleeping Beauty. The climbers who pass them every season do not stop. They step around them, check their oxygen, and keep climbing. On May 10, 1996, 33 people will attempt to reach the summit of the highest point on Earth. By tomorrow morning, 8 of them will be dead. And the man who set the safety rules for the entire expedition will die because he broke his own rule to help a friend.
My name is Arthur Graves, and through forensic AI reconstruction, I am at Camp 4 on the South Col of Mount Everest. It is approximately 11:30 p.m. on May 9, 1996, at 7,900 meters.
The temperature is minus 36 degrees Celsius. The wind is constant, and it sounds like a freight train that never passes.
In about 30 minutes, over 30 climbers from 4 different expeditions will leave this camp and start walking upward into the dark. Some of them will come back, some of them will not. And if you stay until the end, I will show you what this mountain looks like today, where the bodies still are, and why people keep paying to climb it.
To understand what is about to happen, you need to understand what 8,000 meters does to the human body. Everest stands at 8,849 meters. The zone above 8,000 meters is called the death zone, and the name is not dramatic. It is medical. At that altitude, the atmospheric pressure is roughly 1/3 of what it is at sea level. That means every breath you take contains 1/3 of the oxygen your body needs to function. Your brain, which consumes 20% of your body's oxygen, starts shutting down non-essential functions. Judgment deteriorates. Decision-making slows. You become confused, irritable, and euphoric in random alternating cycles. Your blood thickens as your body produces more red blood cells in a desperate attempt to transport oxygen, increasing the risk of stroke. Your muscles burn through energy faster than you can replace it. You lose between 2 and 3 kilograms of body weight per day above 8,000 meters, even while eating. And the clock is ticking. For every hour you spend in the death zone, your body is actively dying. The human body is not designed to exist at this altitude. It is designed to survive there temporarily and get out.
I want to make this concrete. Standing here at Camp 4, I am breathing as hard as I can. And getting roughly the same amount of oxygen as someone breathing normally through a cocktail straw. Every sentence I am speaking right now would require a 40-second pause to recover if I were actually here without supplemental oxygen.
The people around me are lying inside tents, trying to sleep and failing. You cannot sleep properly in the death zone because your body keeps forgetting to breathe. It is called Cheney-Stokes respiration. You fall asleep, your breathing slows, your oxygen drops, your brain panics, you gasp awake, and the cycle repeats every 90 seconds. These people are about to attempt the most dangerous climb on Earth, and they have not slept in 2 days. The expedition that will make headlines around the world is led by 2 men who could not be more different. Rob Hall is a 35-year-old New Zealander who runs Adventure Consultants, the most successful commercial guiding company on Everest. He has summited 5 times, guided 39 clients to the top, and has a reputation for absolute discipline. His rule is simple. Turnaround time is 2 p.m. No matter how close you are to the summit, if it is 2 p.m., you turn around and go down. No exceptions. His price is $65,000 per client. For that money, you get Rob Hall's expertise, his Sherpas, his oxygen, and his promise that he will get you home alive. His wife, Jan Arnold, is 7 months pregnant with their first child in New Zealand. He has called her by satellite phone every day. Scott Fisher is a 40-year-old American who runs Mountain Madness, a competing guiding company. Fisher is charismatic, fearless, and physically gifted. He has summited Everest before without supplemental oxygen. He is the kind of climber other climbers want to be. But on this expedition, something is wrong. Fisher has been showing signs of altitude sickness for days. He is moving slower than usual. He is not eating. His guide, Anatoly Bokreev, a Russian climber of extraordinary ability, has noticed and is concerned. But Fisher insists he is fine. He has clients who have paid to reach the summit. The summit is tomorrow. He will be there. Among Hall's clients is Doug Hansen, a 46-year-old postal worker from Seattle. Hansen works 2 jobs to afford the $65,000 fee. He attempted Everest with Hall the previous year and was turned around just 300 meters from the summit. Hall himself convinced Hansen to come back in 1996, calling him a dozen times from New Zealand to urge him to try again. Hansen is determined. He has remortgaged his life for this. Also in Hall's group is John Krakauer, a journalist writing about the commercialization of Everest for Outside magazine. His article, and the book that follows, will make the 1996 disaster the most documented mountaineering event in history. Shortly after midnight on May 10th, the climbers leave Camp 4 in a single file line of headlamps. They are wearing 4 layers of clothing, crampons on their boots, and oxygen masks connected to cylinders on their backs. Each cylinder provides roughly 6 hours of supplemental oxygen. The plan is to reach the summit by noon, spend a few minutes at the top, and descend to Camp 4 by nightfall. The margin for error is measured in hours. The entire round trip from Camp 4 to the summit and back takes between 12 and 18 hours, and every hour of delay increases the probability of death.
I can see the headlamps now, a string of tiny lights moving upward into total darkness.
It looks almost beautiful from here. It is not beautiful. It is a line of human beings walking at the absolute edge of what the body can endure, into air that cannot sustain them. In the dark, at -40 degrees, toward a point that is still 900 meters above where I am standing.
Some of them are moving well. Some of them are already struggling. And they have been climbing for 20 minutes. The first problem arrives at the balcony, a flat area at roughly 8,350 meters. This is where the fixed ropes should begin, pre-installed lines that climbers clip into and follow all the way to the summit. The ropes are not there. Nobody installed them. The Sherpas from both expeditions were supposed to have done it the day before, but a miscommunication between Hall and Fisher's teams means the work was never completed. The climbers stand in the freezing wind for over an hour, while guides Bukreev and Beidelman fix the ropes by hand. At this altitude, 1 hour of standing still in -40 wind chill is not an inconvenience. It is a medical event. Core body temperatures drop, extremities begin to freeze. Oxygen supplies that were calculated for a 12-hour round trip are now being consumed while standing in line. The margin has already begun to collapse. The second problem arrives at the Hillary Step, a 12-meter near-vertical rock face at 8,190 meters, the last major obstacle before the summit. Again, no fixed ropes. Again, a bottleneck forms. Over 30 climbers from 4 expeditions are now queued on a narrow ridge at nearly 8,800 meters, waiting to climb a single rock face, one at a time. The wait is between 45 minutes and 2 hours, depending on position. The scene is surreal, a traffic jam at the edge of space, people standing patiently in line at an altitude where their bodies are dying by the minute, waiting for their turn to climb 11 meters of rock so they can stand on a point of snow for 5 minutes and then try to get back down alive. By early afternoon, climbers begin reaching the summit. Krakauer reaches the top at 1:17 p.m. and starts descending immediately. He understands the math. Others linger. Photographs are taken. Flags are planted. Some cry, some sit and stare. Nobody stays long. There is nothing at the summit of Everest except a small snow ridge and the knowledge that you are standing on the highest point of the planet. And the fact that you now need to walk back down through everything you just climbed through, except you are now exhausted, partially hypoxic, and the day is getting late. Rob Hall reaches the summit at approximately 2:30 p.m. He has already passed his own turnaround time. He waits. Doug Hansen is still climbing. It is now after 3 p.m. Hall's Sherpa, Ang Dorje, encounters Hansen above the Hillary step and orders him to descend. Hansen shakes his head and points upward. When Hall arrives, the Sherpas offer to take Hansen to the top. Hall sends the Sherpas down and stays with Hansen himself. Doug Hansen reaches the summit at approximately 4:30 p.m., 2.5 hours past turnaround. He is the last person to summit that day. He is exhausted beyond function. He has no oxygen left. He is standing on the roof of the world, and he is already dying.
This is the moment the disaster becomes inevitable, and the reason it is so devastating is that it is not caused by stupidity.
It is caused by loyalty. Rob Hall set the turnaround rule.
But Doug Hansen is not just a client. He is a man Hall personally convinced to come back after failing last year.
He is a postal worker who spent 2 years of savings to be here.
We can't go any further, Rob. I know, Doug. It's okay. We'll try again another time.
To turn him around again, at this altitude, after everything Hansen has sacrificed, would break the man. So Hall breaks his own rule instead. The best guide on the mountain makes the worst decision of his life for the most human reason possible. He cannot bring himself to say no to a friend.
Scott Fisher reaches the summit at 3:45 p.m. He is visibly ill. He can barely stand. His Sherpa, Lopsang Yangbu, has been physically pulling him up sections of the route. Fisher begins descending but collapses near the balcony at 8,350 meters. He cannot move. Lopsang tries to help him, but Fisher tells him to go down and save himself. Fisher is left where he falls. He will die there during the night. At approximately 5 p.m., the storm arrives. It does not build gradually. It hits like a wall. Wind speeds reach 70 to 100 kilometers per hour. Visibility drops to 0. Temperature plummets to below -40. The combination of whiteout conditions and darkness means that climbers who are still above Camp 4 cannot see the trail, cannot see the fixed ropes, cannot see each other. A group of climbers from both expeditions becomes stranded on the South Col in a huddle, unable to determine which direction leads to camp and which direction leads off a cliff. They sit in the open at 7,900 meters in hurricane-force winds for hours, waiting for the storm to break or for death, whichever comes first. At 4:43 a.m. on May 11th, Rob Hall radios base camp. He has been above the south summit for over 12 hours. Hansen is dead. Guide Andy Harris climbed up in the night with oxygen and water, but has since disappeared. Hall is alone, frostbitten, and unable to descend. Base camp patches through a satellite phone call to his wife Jan in New Zealand. They choose a name for their unborn daughter. His last words to her are, "Please do not worry too much. Sleep well, my sweetheart." Shortly after, Hall freezes to death in his sleep at 8,750 meters. His body is found 12 days later by the IMAX expedition team. His wife asks that it be left on the mountain. She says he is where he would have wanted to stay. Among the stranded group on the South Col is Beck Weathers, an American pathologist from Texas. Weathers had undergone radial keratotomy, an early form of laser eye surgery, which becomes catastrophically worse at high altitude. By the time he reached the balcony on the way up, he was nearly blind. He sat down to wait for Hall's descent, but Hall never came. When the storm hit, Weathers collapsed in the snow and was left for dead twice. 2 rescue teams reached him, checked for vital signs, concluded he was dead, and moved on. Weathers lay in the open for 18 hours in -40 conditions. Then, the next morning, he stood up and walked back to camp. He lost his nose, his right hand, and most of the fingers on his left hand. But he walked.
I keep coming back to one fact. Rob Hall's rule was turn around at 2 p.m. no matter what. He lectured his team about it. He said, and I am paraphrasing, with enough determination, any idiot can get up the hill. The trick is getting back down alive. He believed this. He enforced it. He was famous for it. And then he broke it for Doug Hansen, a man he had personally recruited, a postal worker who had spent his life savings. A friend who had come within 300 meters of the summit the year before and been turned around by Hall himself. Every analysis of this disaster comes back to that single decision made at approximately 2:30 p.m. when Hall could have ordered Hansen down and did not. But here is what those analyses miss.
If Hall had turned Hansen around, it would have been the right decision, and Doug Hansen would have gone home destroyed.
And nobody would have written a book about it. Hall chose the wrong answer to an impossible question. And 8 people died, and it became the most famous disaster in mountaineering history.
The mountain did not care about his reasons. It only counted the time.
8 people died on Everest on May 10th and 11th, 1996. Rob Hall, Doug Hansen, whose body was never found, Andy Harris, Scott Fisher, Yasuko Namba, a 47-year-old Japanese woman who was one of the strongest climbers on Hall's team, and collapsed 300 meters from Camp the Four, and 3 members of the Indo-Tibetan Border Police expedition on the north side, Sewang Palger, Dorje Morup, and Sewang Samanla, caught in the same storm, forgotten by the press because they were on a different route, and their story was less convenient for the narrative. Sewang Palger is now known to the world as Green Boots. His body lay in a limestone cave at 8,500 meters on the northeast ridge for 18 years, still wearing the bright green Koflak mountaineering boots he died in. Every climber ascending the north route walked past him. Some used his location as a navigation point. Turn left after Green Boots and continue up the ridge. Below him, in a stretch of the northeast ridge between 8,000 and 8,400 meters, is an area climbers call Rainbow Valley. It is not named for the sky. It is named for the brightly colored climbing suits on the bodies scattered across the slope. Reds, blues, yellows, greens. Each one was a person who paid tens of thousands of dollars to reach the top of the world and died trying. From a distance, they look like discarded laundry. Today, Mount Everest receives roughly 800 climbers per season. A commercial guided expedition costs between $30,000 and $100,000. In 2019, over 300 climbers summited in a single weather window, creating a queue in the death zone that lasted hours. Photographs of the line went viral. A traffic jam at 8,800 meters. People waiting in line to stand on the summit while their oxygen runs out. 11 people died on Everest that season. Since the first recorded attempt in 1921, over 300 people have died on the mountain. Approximately 200 bodies remain. Recovering a body from the death zone costs upward of $80,000 and risks creating new bodies in the process. So most stay. The mountain collects them and keeps them.
I am standing at Camp 4, where this all started 29 years ago.
The wind has not changed. The temperature has not changed.
The South Col looks exactly the same as it did on the night of May 9th, 1996.
Doug Hansen's body has never been found. Scott Fisher's body lay on the southeast ridge for years until it was finally covered. Green Boots was moved in 2014, but the cave is still there. Rainbow Valley is still there. Every spring, 600 to 800 people arrive at base camp and start walking toward a place where 200 frozen human beings remind them exactly what the price of ambition can be. And they keep walking. They always keep walking. Because every corpse on Everest was once a highly motivated person, and the people stepping around them believe, as every climber before them believed, that they will be different, that they will make it up and make it back, that the mountain will not collect them.
Rob Hall believed that too. He believed it 5 times and was right. The 6th time, the mountain disagreed.
If you found this investigation as haunting as I did, like this video and subscribe.
I am Arthur Graves, and I will see you at the next investigation.